Next to war, homelessness is the most visible of policy failures. Each pinched face peering from a sleeping bag, each despairing plea for change, tells of a government seemingly too incompetent or uncaring to ensure that everyone who needs a safe, warm bed can find one. 30 years ago, cardboard cities became the symbol of a failed conservative government. It is true again now, and while the figure huddled in a doorway is always shaming, at Christmas he or she is a still more potent reminder of the cruel gap between the many who have and the few who have not. Generous Guardian and Observer readers have already given nearly £1 million to our charity appeal, donating more than £60,000 a day. It will go to 3 charities that work across Britain with some of the most vulnerable homeless people. DePaul, No Accommodation Network and Centrepoint support young people and destitute asylum seekers, helping them to find temporary accommodation and the practical assistance needed to get their lives back on track. The number of people sleeping rough has, on the official count, more than doubled from just under 2,000 in 2010 to over 4,000 in 2016. Organizations supporting homeless people expect that number to be higher again this year. The latest estimates suggest there may be more than 8,000 people on the street every night, and perhaps as many in cars or the front rooms of friends or family. The number of people living in temporary accommodation has risen by 60%. Women who have been beaten up by their partners stay in the shared home because there is nowhere else to go. More than half the beds in refuges have been closed. Supported housing for vulnerable people is threatened by funding changes that have been delayed but are not abandoned. Earlier this week, MPs on the Public Accounts Committee condemned the total failure of homelessness policy. They pointed to the lack of strategy, the failure to cooperate across departments, particularly over welfare reform, the lack of genuinely affordable homes and the chronic difficulty of finding suitable accommodation for people on low or insecure incomes. The government does not really understand all the factors that trigger homelessness. It lacks the most basic data. The Department for Communities and Local Government counts rough sleepers on just one night a year, and does not include those who are in a hostel. Yet, as Whitehall officials sheepishly admitted, they have long known that homelessness is rising, and they know why: there are not enough homes. From 2010 to 2015, only half the number needed to keep pace with demand were built. Each case of homelessness embodies a unique set of circumstances, as our report on the death of Paul Williams, a rough sleeper in Birmingham, vividly illustrates. But there are also unmistakable, avoidable, structural failings in the government's approach to housing. The most common cause of homelessness is the end of a private tenancy. The government promised during the election to extend the minimum length of these. So far nothing has happened. Instead, the house builders, some of whom are generous donors to the Tory cause, grow richer.